Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mike here at Gamefromscratch, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It is time to bring out the GIMP. Which GIMP? This GIMP. This is GNU Image Manipulation Program, also known as GIMP. Probably one of the most polarizing names in the land of open source. Now, this thing has been around for a couple of decades at this point in time. It's about as close as you get to a free and open source Photoshop alternative, although we are getting more and more options in that world. Not free and open source necessarily, but definitely free. So what do we got with GIMP 3.2? Well, actually, there's quite a bit in this release, and we're going to demonstrate a few of those items. The really simple things, and we'll get into the release notes, you get an idea of exactly what else we've got in this release, but we got some pretty big foundational stuff. The first thing I'm going to showcase is the new path stuff. So what you see here, this is me drawing a path. This is vector graphics, nothing particularly special, nothing out of the ordinary there, but the big new feature here is this one. You can actually create these new non-destructive layers. There's a couple of new layers options that are non-destructive, one of which is for vector tools. So you can actually bring this up and start working with it accordingly. By the way, once you have these, you do have the ability to go ahead and rasterize these tools back down to make them destructive again. But as it stands, you now have non-destructive vector graphics tools inside of GIMP. It's a pretty big deal in that regard. Now, another one, this one is a little bit on the smaller side, but it is important for game developers that are working with pixel art, for example. I'm going to come in here and let's go find the brush right here. And I'm going to go to the paintbrush as an example. We got drawing with the paintbrush. I'm going to just pick a color, a background color, like say green. All right, there we go. So there we go. And I'm going to just draw over my brush. So we got background layers, nothing overwhelmingly special there. But what we now have is a new brush option available. So let's switch this one over to say a yellow brush, and then we're going to go here and we're going to go and switch this mode. So we're going to switch our opacity down to say 60%. So we'll just drop this opacity down to 60% like so, and then when you draw, when they interact, you're going to see this is kind of blending or mixing with the other color. Well, now what we have is this other option available. So you see kind of the mix in. Well, we have this new one in here now called overwrite mode. And if you want a color to just be the damn color you painted it, this is what you're going to use. So now you can see how it interacts. It's just replacing all of the other colors. Again, you see how it interacts? It just literally overwrites whatever the other color is. Again, go back to normal mode. You can see the contrast like so. So if you are doing pixel art and you just want the alpha channel to be completely ignored, well, that is an option there. We also had an update to the My Brush system, and we also have we have 20 new brushes there as well. So in that case, let's go down here to My Paintbrush brush. One of the probably most popular is going to be this one right here, which is an arrow brush. Now, it's kind of frustrating because the arrow is at the wrong end of the stroke. You know, a lot of times you would point, I want to say, point an arrow here. Unfortunately, it starts with the arrowhead and goes back from there. But again, very useful. We got a number of other brushes that were added in as well in here on top. So that's quick part of the hands-on portion, some of the new stuff. Again, this new overwrite mode, definitely if you are working with pixel art and you want to determine exactly what color the pixel is going to be, that one is going to be handy to you. So if you want a GIMP of your own, head on over to GIMP.org. It is available for Windows, Mac, and Linux. Again, this is an open source project if you want to contribute to it. Available for, again, the major platforms, so some other ones as well. The big thing here, again, is we have the 3.2 release, a bit of a highlight version of it right here. But if we jump into the full release notes, we get a bunch more details there. I'm going to just go through like the Cole's notes or the Cliff's notes version of this. The big ones, again, non-destructive layers. It's something they've been working on for a long time. It's going to come back in just a second when we talk about non-destructive filters as well. But the main focus of the 3.2 roadmap was non-destructive layers. We have two new ones in there, link layers and vector layers. We saw vector layers in action. It's basically a way of drawing with vector graphics on their own layers now, or you can have it be part of the raster layer as well. And then we've got, again, the link layers here. This is similar to linked smart objects. You can link an object in and have it work on its own settings completely separate to what you are working with. And again, we have the vector layer. So when you create a path layer, you can say spend it to a new layer. I showed you that earlier on. Shape of the vector layer also automatically updates whenever you adjust the path. You can non-destructively rotate, scale, and transform it too. Like text layers, which is the other non-destructive layer out there, you can also drag and drop color and pattern swatches onto the vector layer to change its fill. We do, again, have updates to the My Paint brushes. So they've updated to use version 2.0, and then as part of that, they added the diturl layer. Basically, that's where the paintbrush and the other stuff that I showed, the arrow and the other stuff that I showed you early on was available. Also have some improvements to the text editor. I find creating text in GIMP to be about as mind-blowingly annoying as things can get. So any improvements in this regard are nice. So things like common shortcuts, because Control-B for bold or Control-I for italics, it's stuff that you would just expect to be there, and it wasn't. So we're getting improvements there as well. Expanded the outline feature in the tool support centered and outer as well as inner. That was the only option before. Again, we showcased this one in action earlier on. This is the new overwrite paint mode. Again, ideal if you're doing something like pixel art and you simply do not want alpha value. That's what it does. It does blending without the alpha values. So it's basically the color you make is the color you paint, which is pretty cool. And then we've got, again, non-destructive being the big thing in this version. This started with GIMP 3, I believe, but more improvements on the non-destructive live filters. These are, modifiers you can apply to the whole scene that don't necessarily destroy the whole thing. They don't do it destructively. They do it as a stack, so you can replace them without necessarily having to just undo the whole thing. So what have they done here? You can apply filters to all non-destructive layers too. If you set an empty layer to pass-through mode, then the NDE filter applies to it will affect all the layers below it. This allows you to create an adjustment layer workflow from other software. You can also stack multiple filters on the same layer group to create complex effects. The latest update to CEGL also brings us a new vibrance filter. Filter combines the existing saturation and hue chroma filters to allow for selective saturation. And then we've got some usability improvements as well. This is an area I think a lot of people think that GIMP could use love, so love is appreciated. Things like you can now quickly switch back and forth between the two most recent tools with Shift X. When creating a layer mask, there is a new persistent edit mask immediately checkbox available. Previously, the delete button in the layer dock would always delete the layer, even if you had the layer mask selected. Now the button is more context sensitive. Improvements to the welcome dialog. Flip and shear tools now respond to arrow keys similar to the move and rotate tools, and so on. So definitely some improvements there. Default color versus theme color there. And then new image and palette format supports. So for retro game developers, if you're all into if you're doing textures for PlayStation or Dreamcast, a very niche area, well, they got you covered there. They've actually got support for their texture formats, PVR formats for those two platforms. And then on top of that, added support for JPEG 2000, a number of other format improvements across the board there as well. And then stability and regression fixes in there. Additional features and changes are also in there. It's actually a pretty massive release, in my humble opinion. I know I've seen some previous ones where you're like, nah, this one's pretty solid. So that is GIMP 3.2. Again, the biggest things are definitely the changes, the non-destructive layers, the non-destructive filters, and then UI improvements across the board, and then, of course, the new painting tools. If you're working in pixel art, you're going to appreciate this particular release. So once again, available at GIMP.org. That is GIMP 3.2 release. Let me know what you think of this. I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.